Next up, at UFC Vegas 56, we have Jeff Molina taking on Zhalgas Zhumagulov. Jeff Molina is 10-2 overall, 5-0 in his last 5, and he's coming off a nice TKO win over Daniel Da Silva. Zhalgas Zhumagulov is 14-6 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off that knockout loss to Manel Kape. And Jeff Molina is a really good striker who has no problem getting into a war. He uses his kicks really well for range and to engage. He'll work his opponent's legs, he'll work their bodies, and that's all just to slow them down. And he does a really good job wearing his opponents out and making sure that they'll have issues later in the fight. He has a ton of volume, and he's always working forward. He does have power, but not necessarily like one punch get slept power. He has the type of power that'll wear you down as the fight goes on and you start to feel it. Zhalgas Zhumagulov, is very tough. He's got solid power himself. He's very good wrestler. His goal is always to just throw big looping punches, get you to react to that so that he can work in a takedown. And the stats are I don't want to say deceiving, but they're a little bit deceiving because while he does average more than one takedown per fight, his last fight he almost averaged 2. He only has a 20% takedown accuracy, but if you watch him fight, and I've mentioned this before, he is a chain wrestler, so he'll take a shot, he's not going to get it, he'll transition to the second, transition to the third, transition to the fourth, get that, and then now he's at 20% accuracy, even though he is a very good wrestler, and these takedowns do add up throughout the fight. And it's an interesting fight because I tend to lean towards wrestlers in these type of matchups, right? Zhalgas, tough wrestler. Jeff Molina, he's a striker who uses a lot of kicks. That's tailor-made for a wrestler, but Zhalgas can be chinny, and we've seen Molina get taken down 5 times in 3 fights. But he wins. He wins those fights even though that happens. So I'm going to lean Molina here because in 2 of those 3 fights where he was taken down multiple times, he was able to keep the pressure, work in his control, take care of the striking, and he won those fights. And he won them by decision. It's not like he was getting taken down, losing, and relied on a big punch. He still managed to pull off decisions, even though he was taken down 2-3 times in a fight. I think that's more the same here, but I do think he needs to be careful. He loves kicks, and this is just not the type of guy you want to be throwing kicks out there. Or if you're going to throw a kick, it's got to start a combination. It can't end one because then it'll be left hanging there and somebody will snatch it up. Jakey boy, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think the takedowns are going to be a huge issue for Jeff Molina. He's a guy that I'm a big Jeff Molina guy. He's so composed inside the octagon. When he gets taken down, he knows to get back to his feet. He doesn't mess around. He gets to the cage. He tries to get back to his feet. There's no pulling guard. There's no weird stuff. Let me get back to my feet because I know I'm a striker, and he's very, very good at that. And that's why he wins those decisions, even though he's getting taken down, because he gets back to his feet. You mentioned the lack of kind of one-punch power. I actually love the fact that he doesn't use his power until he really needs to. He will sit down on a punch, but he's not one of those guys that's just throwing wild all the time because those guys get in trouble and they get tired. He's a guy that, as you mentioned, his volume, boom, 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 boom. But when it's time to sit down, when he gets his timing and he sees those openings, he will sit down on a punch and he will hurt people. And his chin is great in that right. You saw that against that Key Lang fight. He got cracked a bunch, and he's willing to exchange, and his chin is held up to this point. We'll see if Zhalgas can kind of catch him because he hasn't been knocked out yet, but, this will be a good test for Jeff Molina's chin if it comes to some big exchanges, because saw that with Zhalgas in the Manel Kape fight. He was cracking Manel Kape. It seems like Manel Kape is a guy that is always losing the fight and then finds out and all of a sudden wins the fight. Against O'Day, O'Day's on this card. We'll mention that as well. O'Day was also beating Manel Kape, and then Manel Kape finds the finish. Same with Zhalgas. Zhalgas was lighting that dude up. And we'll see if he can light up Jeff Molina in that same way. Maybe he can get those takedowns. I don't think the takedowns are going to be an issue. I'm a Jeff Molina guy all the way. I love his composure. I love the way he fights. I think that you mentioned the kicks. I think the leg kicks are going to be a big issue for Zhalgas in this fight. If Jeff Molina can light up that front leg, those takedowns are going to be even harder to get. I would attack that front leg early. Use your volume, use your experience. It might be a decision win, but it's going to be a win for Jeff Molina.
Yeah, I do think Zhalgas is one of the more live guys on this card as far as underdogs are concerned. Very clear path for him to win this fight. Shoot takedowns, tons of control. But again, I don't see him winning, but listen, when we're talking underdogs, he is one of the more live underdogs. $9,000 from Jeff Molina, definitely a no. I'm definitely not going to do it. I don't see him stopping Zhalgas. If he does, maybe it's late. We just broke down 2 fighters before this that could potentially score way higher than Jeff Molina. And again, I think Zhalgas is pretty live. You seem to agree with that, even though we're both picking Jeff Molina here.
No, I don't think he's very live at all, honestly.
Okay, but you did thumbs down to Jeff Molina not being worth $9,000.
No, I was thumbing down to you saying he was live. But I still wouldn't play. I wouldn't play Jeff Molina now.
Oh, okay. And the Monkey Knife Fight strike line, this is one of the few that I'm going to stay away from. Realistically, this is a very good line. Jeff Molina could absolutely land that many strikes. Zhalgas swinging at air. Jeff Molina lighting him up, circling. I don't necessarily trust this strike line, so I'm not going to play that. If you do, WeWantPicks.com/MKF. And if you want $50 for free, WeWantPicks.com/bets. We have 5 different betting partners. Sign up with any one of them, make a deposit, and we send you $50 as a thank you. WeWantPicks.com/bets.